everybody, and welcome back to my channel. As I stated last week, this week we are starting a new series on my channel. It's basically art history. I'm going to take different eras or different artists, find some interesting facts about them, give those interesting facts to you guys, and do a painting or a drawing or something along the lines of what they did. So to start off this whole thing, I'm doing Michelangelo. Now, Michelangelo was a sculptor. He's known for being a sculptor. He was not a painter. So you might be asking, well, he painted the Sistine Chapel. What do you mean he wasn't a painter? Well, it's said that Bramante, he was one of the great artists of the time. He was Raphael's mentor. Did not like Michelangelo at all. Apparently they had a rivalry, and Michelangelo blames him for a lot of different things that happened to sabotage his career. So it's said that Bramante convinced the Pope into having Michelangelo paint the Sistine Chapel, and this was meant to ruin Michelangelo's career because he figured, well, he can't paint. He's a sculptor. He's never painted. This ultimately backfired, as everyone knows. He did an amazing job. Spent 4 years doing it. He did take some time off, though, because he painted the ceiling and he painted the wall. And while he was painting the wall, he fell from the scaffolding. No one was around when this happened. So he dragged himself home, and one of the articles I read described it as dragging himself home like an injured cat or a wounded cat, which is a rather funny image if you really think about it. But, no one knew. So he laid basically on the floor of his home for a good 3 days before a physician came and helped him get back to health. But yeah, another funny story of his is when he was first starting out. No one knew who he was. But at the time, people only wanted ancient antiques. And that's Greek and Roman sculptures. So he carved a Cupid, and he roughed it up and made it look old, and then had a merchant sell it to a cardinal. And it was a fabulous statue, good enough to fool a good handful of people. They eventually found out, and the cardinal returned it and got his money back. The thing is, though, everyone loved that statue. So the cardinal, instead of just going, okay, it's still nice, I'm gonna keep it, returned it, didn't know anything about art, just wanted to follow the trends. But yeah, and then one time, so he lived in Florence, and he was good friends with the ruler of Florence. They were about the same age, grew up together apparently. But they were good friends, and one day it snowed, and it rarely snows in Florence. And so he was commissioned to build a snowman. A lot of people have called this a supreme example of a patron's abuse of an artist. However, knowing what we know about Michelangelo and his attitude towards things, he was probably the one that came up with the idea and wanted to do it. He had a temper, but at the same time, he was immature. Like I said, he did the Cupid, and I mean, you have to think of that and be like, yeah, I can pull that off, let's do it. to even dare, because cardinals were pretty powerful then. So it snowed, and it was 1494, the year that it snowed. So he was commissioned to build a snowman. And no one knows what it looks like. There's no sketch of what it might have been. We don't know. It could have been something brand and amazing, or it could have been one of those muddy, drooping looking snowmen you see in the winter. It was probably pretty awesome, though. But yeah. So Michelangelo was commissioned to build a snowman. He died a very rich man. However, he lived like the poorest of poor. He was very, very stingy with his money. And near the end of his life, he destroyed a bunch of sketches he had done because he didn't want people to know how hard he had worked. A lot of what we know came from the biography that was written about him. The biography was written by Cavallari. He was Michelangelo's apprentice, and he wrote his biography, and it was the first artist's biography to be published before the artist had actually died. So Michelangelo was the first of many to do things. He was also eccentric in many, many ways and did a lot of funny things. He once did a sculpture that was, they described it as perfect. However, one of his fellow artists that was jealous said, it's not perfect, it's the nose is all wrong. So he grabbed some dust and climbed up there and pretended to chisel the nose for a bit and let the dust fly down. And after that, they were like, oh, it's perfect, you're good. And he didn't actually change anything. But yeah, that was the beginning of this series. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any suggestions on how to make it better, artists or time periods you want me to do, leave them in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see y'all next time. Bye!